Hey there, YouTube, it's Petey Two Finger. There's a really well-known issue, the Korg USB MIDI driver. So Korg wrote this software for connecting their products via USB to the computer. And there's a problem with it. Now, if I go over to YouTube,
Gary Hinman doesn't have the money. Charles
Ian Dixon
tries to kill Gary
has an
Hinman
8-minute video.
because he's too short.
Tim Shoebridge, that was a video I watched, 16 minutes. There's another 6-minute, another Ian Dixon video. So there's a bunch of people have covered this.
Go to a hospital, and then
Basically, it comes down to the fact that there's a problem with the way that Korg wrote the software.
Gary Hinman.
And I'll show you guys. I go to the search here, and it's popping out right here, this uninstall Korg USB MIDI device. So another way to access this, basically for me, for the Korg Pandora, when you install the software, there is a Drive Tools 115R56E, that's the USB MIDI driver. Then there is the USB ASIO driver that you install, and then there's the sound editor. And in my case, everything works fine except the sound editor will not connect. See, it says dump not available. So the first thing that you need to make sure is that you go to, you click on MIDI and then go to MIDI setup, and there'll be input and an output. And as you can see, the Pandora is not showing up here. That's the problem. If you're having that problem, well, we can fix it. It's important to understand you do need to manually, on this software, you need to make sure that you're going through the proper steps to connect it before you assume this other problem. And another thing that's worth pointing out, are you using the right type of cable? Manufacturers have produced a charging cable. So this is a proper USB. This is a leapfrog cable. It's a shorty. I like these cables. And it has 4 connections for the USB and 4 connections for the other side, the mini. And there's 4 wires. The charging cable has 4 and 4, only 2 wires. So if we cut this open, we would see it's proper. It's got 4 wires. There's a plus and a minus, which is like 5 volts. That's USB standard. 5 volts, a half an amp, 500 milliamp is what that is. And then there's another set of wires, which is for the data. So this Korg device here, it's when I plug it in with the proper cable, and I have the drivers loaded, it will shut off my computer's built-in speakers, because that's what this does. It's a secondary audio system for the computer. You plug your guitar in, you plug headphones or speakers into the output, and that's how you monitor it. You know, they assume that you understand this. It's all in the manual. So this is basic stuff that we need to be aware of, that you're using the right cable, that you've installed the USB MIDI driver first, USB ASIO driver, and then the PXD5 sound editor, or whatever it is. Like there's on the Alan Dixon or whatever that guy's video, he doesn't have a Pandora, he's got a synthesizer, and it's the same problem. We're getting partial connectivity, it's working, it's passing audio just like it should, but when you go to use the editor software, the sound editor, it's coming up dump not available, and when you go to the MIDI section, well, we're not seeing the Pandora. So the problem is there is 10 when you go into the Windows registry, your Korg USB MIDI driver needs to be in the first 10 slots. So for me, I have this computer for a long time. I'm plugging all kinds of different MIDIs into it, and they're installing their drivers. And there was like 20, I think I had 28. And one of the last things I plugged in was the Pandora. So it was in the 20s. It was way down there. And that software, the editing software, only looks in the first 10 assignments. So Korg has given us a piece of software. I'm gonna mouse over to my search. Here it is, the Korg MIDI driver uninstall utility. I'm going to go over to my start button and I'm going to scroll down to Korg. Here's Korg. We're going to go into Korg. Here it is, the uninstall. So we go to next, and here it is. We can see 1 and 2 is the Korg Pandora. Now, it's important
The way people were describing it,
know how to operate the software. You can access additional pages. So in your case, I'm guessing you would go here, you would have to hit page 2, you would go down to page 2 or 3, and then you would see your Pandora. So that needs to be moved. And there's no easy way to do it. You have to go through the process of selecting what you want to delete, hit next, it'll delete it, and then you have to reinstall it. So as you can see here, I only have 2 options. I'm going to go to option. This says only Korg. Okay, well, if we uncheck only Korg, then that gives us the option to delete
shocking to me.
other manufacturers' drivers, which you're going to need to do that, more than likely. Now, you can see here, if it says connected, this software will not let you disconnect it while it's connected. So what can you do? Well, you can manually go and unplug your USBs if you have a interface. I mean, this isn't preference. It doesn't have to be high on the list for any other reason other than Korg software needs to see it there in order to connect. Understand? So for me, I was deleting all kinds of stuff, and it was reinstalling it right after I would delete it in those locations 1 through 10. So I had been down the road of uninstalling and reinstalling the USB MIDI driver, the ASIO driver, and the software till I was blue in the face, and then I looked it up and found this solution. And how it worked for me was to go in and manually, I kept deleting stuff. And at one point, immediately after I had deleted 4 drivers, this device was plugged in with the cable, but it was off. So I had selected these 4 drivers. None of them were the Pandora. They were other devices that were taking up those precious spaces between 1 to 10. So I had them selected. I had to go into options and hit uncheck only Korg because these were drivers written by different manufacturers. So in order to delete them, you have to uncheck that. I had selected the 4 drivers I wanted to undelete. And then I hit next. Right after I hit next, I turned the power on the Korg, and the computer assigned the Pandora drivers into slot 1 and 2. And I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your favorite interface is last in the line. It doesn't mean anything, except in the case of Korg, in their infinite wisdom, chose to write it this way. I don't know why they did that. This has been a problem for Korg for a long time. And it's a universal piece of software. So what we're going to do now, maybe I'll get a slightly longer cable because this cable is a little bit difficult to hold it up to the screen. So ultimately, we're on dirty. I'm going to pop open the sound editor and
because it seems
There we
like
go.
Julio's sort of
So
minimized that, and I've only
I
seen
just popped open
really
the
passing
editor,
references to
and
this
you can
straight
see
Satans
here
and this mess
it
going
says
on,
dump receive
making
not
them
available.
sick. Do you have any
So I'm going to
memories
click
about
OK.
that?
The window opens up. I'm going to go up to this MIDI setup
Caught up in that,
and
that
select,
was my fault.
oh, there it is. Korg Pandora PX5 1 control in, and for the output, same thing. And we hit OK. And now we have receiving data, and it's showing me that it's connected. So what I'm going to do here, I don't know if you remember, we were on dirty. I'm going to go to clean, and then I'm going to pop over to the camera. As you can see, we're on Vox clean, and then I'm just going to start randomly clicking through patches here. So you can see I am, it's working. I'm not pulling a fast one. I actually managed to fix this problem. If you have any questions, what I did a search term of
I think he was more
Korg
interested that there was some kind
USB
of
MIDI
helter-skelter
driver
narrative
on
at play or
YouTube.
some kind of higher
And
purpose in
there's an
the
Ian
Manson
Dixon video,
philosophy beyond
8-minute
being
video.
about
There's a Tim
simply money
Shoebridge. This is
or
a video I
trust.
watched, 16 minutes. There is an Ian Dixon, another Ian Dixon. There was a Windows 10 May 2019 update, and that is an additional problem. So I am suggesting to you guys, if you don't have any luck with this video, or you'd like more information, the Tim Shoebridge video, he really went through that. Like he went to the Korg website and was clicking on the stuff and waiting 2 minutes for it to come up and downloading it. He really went through it in detail. So there's other people that talk about this if you don't like my style. Again, I found that the stuff I was deleting, like when I came back, I only had 10. And there was like 28 or something before I started. So here's my Spark Mini. I got this from an online auction site, $8.99 when I started bidding on it. I paid $40 for it. Still kills me. So yeah, this was one of the drivers that I deleted. And you don't have to go and download the driver and reinstall it. Basically, after I made sure that the Pandora was in the slots it needed to be and it was working, you connect the USB, plug it in and turn it on, and then it assigns the driver to where it needs to be automatically. So ultimately, when I began making this video and I returned to the uninstall Korg USB MIDI device app, and I was able to see that display of where they were, there was only 10 drivers. And when I started, there was something 28 maybe. So like I powered up my interface. There's a switch on the front of the interface. Turn that on. Oh, here's another one. I plugged in the positive grid Spark. Oh, here's another one. So basically, whatever I lost from deleting it will get automatically picked back up again when I use the USB. When you plug it in, it'll automatically assign it where it needs to go. And if worse comes to worse, Like the worst case scenario is something gets really munged up and you need to do a reinstall of the Windows and all of the apps and all that. That can happen. And from time to time, that's a blessing in disguise because it will take you some time to get everything back to how you like it, but you'll end up decluttering, and the power is in the hand of the guy who's armed with knowledge, and the knowledge comes from knowing how to quickly and efficiently use a search. So this is why I make these videos. Everything that I do here is in service of making music, making the tools to make music. So if you're interested in that type of thing, or if you found this helpful, I really appreciate you subscribe. Stick around for the music. I make music here. It's just for fun. It's not competitive. I'm not a guy who judges other people by the gear they own. If you have a Line 6 and you're a kid in your bedroom, more power to you. So am I. I just happen to own a lot of gear. I have digital gear and I have tube gear, and it doesn't mean I'm a better, I have more value, or I'm sitting on some perch looking down because, oh look, there's a handmade JTM 45. Does that mean that I'm special? Absolutely not. I am blessed and lucky enough to be born in this time when you're up against a problem and you think, oh my goodness, and then you can type it in and find an answer. That's a hot tamale there. So that's why I do what I do. Good luck with your thing. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Ultimately, I don't like back and forth in doing that in a YouTube comment section. So you can email me is what you can do. I won't ask you for much, but I will ask you to hug your pets. That's really important. And peace.